Huh? Well, mine is that this is going to sound like a negative, but it's not. The people that have decided to go do something else, I wish them the best. And maybe this opportunity wasn't the best for them, and maybe it wasn't the right timing. But I wish all those people the best. It was great to meet them, and hopefully we'll see them down the road. We still have a goal to go after. We're sitting at 26K, which we'll talk about here in just a minute. So I'm excited about where we sit. Having productive people here, people that want to be here, people that want to develop and grow, and that part of this is very, very exciting as we continue to get bigger, better, and stronger. So good morning, Mary. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and move forward here. If nobody has any good news, I'm gonna go ahead and keep this party moving. As you guys know, I hope you're taking this to heart because I know when I wrote this years ago, it meant a lot to me. And to inspire and nurture our teammates to exceed their goals, one person, one family, and one neighborhood at a time, because that's what we do every day. And you have to have passion for this, or it grinds on you, right? Wanting to go out and help people. And it's not the easiest thing in the world that we do, but we do make a difference. And I'm telling you guys, once you, and you're all doing great, but I'm telling you, once you have your first claim, it takes this thing to a completely different level because then you can, what we sell, what we provide is it's not a tangible product. You can't touch it, taste it, see it, smell it. And in my opinion, it's one of the greatest gifts you can ever give to somebody when you pass away, to make sure that you're not a burden on them, right? But it is tangible when that person, that daughter, that son, that uncle, that sister, brother, cousin invites you to their funeral and they hug you and thank you that you sat down with their mom or dad and helped them put this in place. They don't know where they would have been without it. I'm telling you, once you do that, it is tangible when they wrap their arms around your neck and thank you and they cry. I promise you. And it's coming. You keep selling enough of these things, somebody's going to pass away. I promise you. I'm hoping it's not anytime soon, but it is coming. So yesterday got a lot of email for administrative things. Just jump on them, guys. It's not a big deal. I had one yesterday, one digit off, and it was completely my fault. Husband and wife that I wrote, I left literally the number one off of hers. His went through, hers didn't. I got the notification or whatever. She called me yesterday before I got a chance to call her and said, "Do I need to mail in a check?" I said, "No, ma'am. You've already been taken care of. I took care of it yesterday." I said, "I was running around all over the place." And this was like 9:30 at night. I said, "I was just leaving church and I was not going to call you this late." She called me literally. I was sitting in church. So it's crazy how that worked out. But she was like, "No, we need it. You did a great job. We're going to keep it until we pass away." She told me she referred me to two people as well. So that's a good thing too. So when you get those administrative tasks, long-winded, but just take care of them. They're really not that big a deal. If you guys need me for any of that stuff, let me know. All right, I finally got the dates right. October 10th is our next breakfast at Chick-fil-A. I promise we'll move the location around, but based on where everybody lives at for the most part, except for Ben, it's kind of a central location. So we'll move it around here coming up here soon. October 10th, our next breakfast. Our next boot camp is October 3rd. Obviously, we'll see some new faces here. I look forward to those. It's a chance for all of us to get together, have a good time, train, learn, and develop. And the cool thing for me about the boot camps is even somebody as seasoned as Ben and Barb and some of the other people on our team, there's always one or two things that you pick up from there, even myself. So, when you're around like-minded people, like-minded things happen, right? You guys all know this stuff, but we have obviously several new people here. Our phone verification, 8:30 a.m. Central to 9 p.m. Central. Monday through Friday. Saturday is 9 to 4. All right? I'll continue to post that on GroupMe. On Friday, we're going to spend probably our most of the time on our meeting on Friday, making sure we get everybody to Discord. There's a group called V2L, if you guys have been a part of any of the national calls that we have on a monthly basis, the first week of the month. And V2L is I know they're one of the probably the fastest growing team and the largest team. So within the RPG channel, if you will. Discord, if you guys want to take a look at it, I'm going to be sending you guys invites. I'm going to try to get that done tonight, but sending you guys invites. We're going to be shifting over to this on Friday. So if you don't get a chance to take care of it, by the time I send it out between today and Friday morning, that's what we'll spend our time doing. So if you could download it, it'll make it quicker. Then I can either resend the invite to you and everything else. Myself and Ben and Barb are already in there. Me and Ben have been maneuvering around it. I wouldn't tell you it's a whole lot different. I think it's cleaner. Once you figure it out, it's a little bit easier, in my opinion, to move around. And from a leadership standpoint, there's things that we're going to be able to upload to that you'll be able to just go out there and find. So this particular app, I think, makes things simpler for what we do, but it also provides you guys with an opportunity to have more resources out there at your fingertips throughout this particular app. So we'll be getting that set up for team on Friday, excuse me, and I'll be getting the invites out to all of you very shortly. All right. Any questions there on Discord? Fantastic. All right, and I believe I believe RPG is going to be switching to it, and I talked to Ernest late last night, and I think he said that at some point they're going to be moving to it. They're not looking forward to it, but as times go, they change. Reference to the numbers so far for the week in reference to door knocks, etc. Benji, you'll be getting your rep card next week, so looking forward to adding you to the mix here. Obviously, 20 activity points a day, 100 a week, 400 a month is 10,000. We know what Ben and Barb did last month with even just shy of those numbers. But so far for the week, our top three, if you will, Barb at 16 knocks, Mary at 17. And Mary, I got to tell you, proud of you. I really, really am, and I hope that means something to you. When I was going through yesterday and putting this together, it put a smile on my face. It really did. So keep it up. Keep it up. You know what our bet is. Yeah, you know what our bet is, so I'm looking forward to honoring my side of that. So you're a little shy right now, but I know you'll make it up because I know Ben's going to hold you accountable. But that was really good to see you there for sure. Keep it up. And then obviously Ben kicking everybody's butt, but Ben, I'm coming for you, my man, in the activity. So I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to get it done. So in reference to that, and then this was yesterday, just absolutely tremendous job yesterday. Again, Ben, top three, if you will, Mary at 11, Barb at 15, and then Ben doing his usual outstanding activity and obviously hitting the board yesterday as well. All right, last couple things. Ben is on a 2-day app string. Nobody's surprised, nothing, just doing what you do there, Ben, but congratulations. We know it's not easy what we do, and for you to go and protect families 2 days in a row obviously means a lot to those families and our team and Lincoln Heritage. In reference to our strings, Barb, I told you I was going to fix it, and I still left it at 6. Mary's at 2 weeks. So Mary, I think that's the first time you've been on a 2-week app string. So congratulations, Mary. Way to go. Let's make it 3, Mary. And then Barb is at 7 weeks. Barb, I promise you I'll get it right. And I got confirmation, Barb, the sweatshirt is, they're almost done with it. So I'm looking forward to giving that to you. Hopefully they have it before the next breakfast. And you and Ben's jackets are right about done too. I made a couple of adjustments to them. It kind of motivated me when I got the spec for you guys' green jackets. Kind of motivated me. I'm like, man, I need to get my button gear and get this 10K out because I will not just buy one for myself. I have to earn it as well. So you guys, anything I ask you guys to do, I'm going to do myself. And then 31 weeks in a row. Ben, just absolutely terrific job, man. 31 weeks in a row that you protected at least one family, and we know you'll make it 32. So congratulations. All right. In reference to agent of the month, we'll go top 5. We got Miss Michelle Bryant at 43 points. Mary Kretz at 47. Great job, Mary. We got Miss Chance Michaels at 49 points. Barb at 151 and Ben sitting at 171. So it's our top 5 for agent of the month so far. I'm looking forward to pushing through for a strong finish to the month and hitting our goal of 50K. Reference to numbers, we got Mr. Tommy Hogan at 593, Mary Kretz at 1479. These are issued numbers, by the way. We got Miss Chance Michaels at 1521, Dane Hartman at 1603, myself at 2380. We got Miss Michelle Bryant at 4376, Mr. Ben Stratton at 5437 in the number 2 spot, and Miss Barb is only a few dollars short of hitting that 8,000. So with all the leads and stuff that we have going on right now, anybody that hits the newsletter, it's 10 free leads to you. So Barb, I know that's coming. Ben, everybody's got an opportunity to do that. It might take you a little bit of a push, but I want to get through these leads that we have, and I'm willing to eat the cost of that. So you hit the newsletter, heck, 5,000. You hit 5,000, Barb and Ben, sorry, you got to hit the 8. Anybody that hits 5 and then hits 8, it's 10 free leads to you. So I'll eat the cost of that. We're currently sitting at 26,051. So I have no doubt we'll hit that 50,000 this month. So with the 43,000 last month, looking forward to it. All right, numbers from Monday. Miss Barb Martinez and Mary went out and split an app. Great job, ladies. $295 for each one of them. One family protected with a total of 3 units of AD&D. Ben had another solid day Monday. $1,188. One family protected, 5 units of AD&D. Our Monday total $17,778. 2 families helped, 6 units of AD&D. On Tuesday, came back. Ben helped a family with $461. One family protected there, and myself, I helped 2 for a total of $999 with 13 units of AD&D, bringing our total Tuesday $1,460. 3 families helped, 13 units of AD&D. Weekly total so far, we got Mary and Barb sitting at $295 apiece, just over $500. Myself at $999. 2 families protected, 13 units of AD&D, and Mr. Benjamin Stratton leading the way No surprise there. 1649, two families protected, 5 units of AD&D. Total so far for the first 2 days, 3238. Five families helped, 21 units of AD&D. So I wanted to cover this. I know we've talked about this before, but I wanted to show you guys, especially out in your area, Mary, and some of us. I work all over the place: St. Charles, St. Peter's, Midtown, all of South County, North County, doesn't matter to me. But if you're not aware, I'm just going to cover this very quickly. I'm just going to put in Afton. Okay, I don't know why that popped in my head, but it did. And we've covered this before, but I'm going to show you guys another tool on this that is very helpful. On the far right-hand side here, you can see the zip code. So you put whatever zip code, or you can put the city in or whatever. There's what's called direct cremation, full service cremation, affordable burial, and then traditional full service burial. All right. So we covered these before, so I'm not going to go into mass detail. But direct cremation. So just right here, I live in Overland. So that place is 6 miles away, roughly 6 miles away from where I'm at. I'm going to click this 895, and it's going to give you the breakdown for that particular funeral home for these particular services, right? So I'm going to expand this out, and this shows you what all direct cremation, 895, basic services included, whatever that means, transfer of remains included, whatever that means. And Ben, I don't know if you can talk about this, because for whatever reason you've been running into a lot of the people wanting to donate their bodies to science. Can you share what you found out about that recently, if you don't mind?
3 people I've talked to recently. Apparently, it costs you money to donate your body. So one person said it's going to cost them close to $1,000. Another person said it costs her husband like $1,800. And then I just talked to another guy, said he's donated his body. He knew it costs to do that, but he didn't know. He already had a policy with us. He had a $3,000 plan with us, which he's had for like 12 years. I called Lincoln and they actually gave me credit for the lead too. But yeah, so apparently it costs money to donate your body, which is crazy. And then I guess that I think Benji said this in the meeting, and I brought this up to the guy I was talking to, that that's only if they accept it as well. So you got to
That's
have
what I was getting ready to call him Benji next
Yeah,
with that.
correct.
I did not know that it cost you to do that, and I definitely didn't know that they wouldn't accept your body. I figured they would just use it for science or
So
medical. So go ahead, Benji.
St. Louis Cremation, which has like 5 offices, like their headquarters are actually like 3 blocks from me, their main office. They have a body donation program that includes kind of the cremation stuff. It's very discounted. Like your body gets donated, they'll help cover that cost. Like they work with WashU and SLU, and then they'll also cremate your body afterwards. But from my understanding from the old company I was from, we were always told that right now they may accept your body for whatever health you have or whatever, you know, experiment or whatever they need you for. But 10 years from now, they may not need you, right? So like WashU, for example, would have to accept you for that. So I've used that as a comeback, or not a comeback, when I've had that objection. Oh, I don't need this because they're going to pay for it. Well, has your body been accepted yet? And people don't think about that.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta think about this. Even the people that probably say they want to donate their body or put it on their license, their driver's license and all that, it never even occurred to me. I just figured you donated your body, somebody come picked it up, or, the hospital or morgue or whatever. But there's a cost for that. And you guys know it's very expensive to die. It's very expensive
And
to die.
and then the other thing people don't realize, oh, I'm going to do it local to WashU or SLU, but they don't accept it. But some other university halfway around the world, which I've heard stories of this, will, but are you getting the right body back? Like I don't want to be that morbid
Yeah,
person,
that's
but
weird. Yeah.
that's what pops in my head.
Well, and then you have all the weird stuff about, body parts being sold and all those kind of things as well. So, I mean, if you're donating your body, you're donating your body, I guess. But
Yeah.
it's crazy to me that you could donate your body and then they charge you to transport the body and everything else. That's just crazy to me. But so that just points out, just some of the things. I've been doing this a long time, and I hadn't not heard either of those two things until you gentlemen brought them up.
Which
So,
if the price is $1,800 like it was for the one lady I talked to, the family might just say, "I want to cremate you," because
Let me
it
look up
right.
could
what
be
St.
cheaper. But either way, if there's money there, they can do it.
Right. And that's the whole point of this. And that's the reason I'm pointing this out. So this says direct cremation, but it says 895, basic services included. What does that mean, right? Transfer to funeral home. Okay, that transfer to funeral home from where? From the house? And I just don't see how that's 895 bucks. But
Under 50 miles, it looks like.
so thank you for pointing. I didn't even see it, but thank you for
So
pointing that out.
St. Louis Cremation, they have a national body program which is $0, but even for SLU and Wash U, it's still $865 to perform the cremation.
So that's again back to my point. This says 895. I don't know how it's 895. You see what I'm saying? And this is a great resource to be able to go in, type in the zip code. Now something popular that we're starting to see now is apparently I've been doing this the last several years, but people will still have a service with their body and then be cremated after. You still have to pay for a
Yeah.
service.
That's what we did to our mom. We did,
Right.
I call it rent a casket.
Mhm.
We did a viewing and then we cremated her and this is 2010. At that time, I think it was like 10 to 12,000 for everything.
And that's like the
15 years
cost of a
ago.
funeral. I mean, you think about that.
Yeah.
Like I showed you guys some pictures. We did a blowout for my mom, and it was around right just over 16,000. And we had the coverage for it. We paid out of the pocket a little bit because my sisters wanted to do some different stuff, but we were okay with it. But what the point that I'm making with this site is a great resource, and I haven't even gotten into the training part yet. This part is a great resource for you guys to be able to pull it up because if they don't know, and this is common sense. You guys are all agreeing with me now. This says 895. There's things in here that they don't know. I guarantee you this is more than 895. This is just a base price. Okay? So
And
let's go
also,
to go ahead, Barb. Sorry.
I mean, I haven't done the research to look it up myself, but I've spoken to a couple of different people that I sold policies to, where I guess there's a new law that just passed in Missouri where even if you are being cremated, your body needs to be embalmed,
Oh,
and that price is not being included in that direct cremation yet.
I've never heard of that
I've been
because
hearing about that for a
I,
while.
I hadn't heard about it, but a couple of
interesting.
clients told me that's why they were looking into getting a little bit because they were like, yeah, if it was just a $700 or whatever, we weren't going to worry about it, but we don't want to leave a couple of $1,000s for our kids. And we're going to be in Missouri when we pass, more
I
than
need to look.
likely. So,
I need to look that up because the last time I saw the law, it said for disposal of the body was either refrigeration, embalming, or cremation, and you didn't have to embalm to cremate, nor did funeral homes were required to do embalming as long as they had a refrigerator. That's
yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like I
Yeah.
said, I haven't done the research myself. I didn't look it up. I'm just taking like the word of the people, but
I'm gonna
they,
look that up.
yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a good conversation to have, and it's a good conversation point to have with the clients because I've heard that from people as well. I've heard it from clients as well. And the whole part of this particular training, if you will, is just to educate you guys on what's out there, so that you know when it comes up with a client, you can have an education moment with them, or just go to this website and point out some things. Even you just said it, Barb, like and Ben, people are saying, well, yeah, I want to be cremated, but I didn't realize this was a part of it. So now instead of getting that $1,000 or maybe 1,500 that they can self-pay, they're like, well, I might need 3 or 4,000. Or Benji, to your point, when your mother passed away, uh, sorry about that, by the way, but when your mother passed away, what you guys did for her cost as much as a funeral, a regular funeral, and she still got cremated. So there's all kinds of other things that come into play. And I know for myself and my sisters, we were emotional. And because of that, we made some decisions on some things that, like I told, that beautiful thing we put on top of the casket, we put it, we saw it for 30, 45 minutes and then there was dirt on top of it. What was the point of spending 1,500 bucks on that? I don't know. Made us feel better, I guess. It's weird. But anyway, affordable burial, same thing. Basic included, transfer to the funeral home. $1.25 per mile over 50 miles might not come into play, but it just depends. Depends on where you passed away at and all those kind of things. So hearse to the cemetery, and then basic casket. What does that mean? Well, good, better, best, right? So I wanted to point out some of these things for you guys to be able to go out there. I know we've talked about this, I think back late July, I covered this stuff. But here's what I really wanted to cover. Right here on the top right-hand portion of the screen here is called their Knowledge Center. And I played around with this, and I think this is really cool. So what I put in is a couple of different things. Okay? And it pulled up some cool stuff, but what I wanted to review was this: funeral, or excuse me, final expense versus pre-needs. Okay, I'm not going to read all this stuff to you guys because you guys can go out here and do this research as well. But what I wanted to, this article is saying, you guys have the sources, what the pricing is. Some of it is complementary to what we have in our presentation, but most policies fall between 5 to 25,000, obviously for final expense, because we're insuring people that maybe waited too long in life or in the third, maybe early fourth quarter of their life. So that's where our policies go up to 35,000. Yes, there are some companies that go more than that, but most of the people don't qualify for it, right? Which we've talked about that numerous times. The advantages of final expense insurance is allows you to choose a specific amount of insurance for your budget, keeping your premiums fixed. That's exactly what we do. Coverage decisions are made quickly, as a medical exam isn't necessary, and eligibility is usually based off of answering a few questions. That's what we do. Pays out quickly so beneficiaries can pay for funerals at services at the time. Coverage lasts as long as the insured is alive if the premiums are paid in full. Proceeds are not limited to funeral burial expenses and can be used to pay any outstanding debts, hospital bills, mortgages, credit cards, which is actually right in our presentation. Now, here's what this particular writer of this article said are disadvantages. Beneficiaries can use the insurance proceeds however they want. So I say this in my presentation sometimes, like, you want to make sure you have this stuff lined up, and that's why we need to do FCGS and make sure that your family member knows what you want, because they literally could take all that money, go to Vegas, and put it all on black if they wanted to. All right? And since some insurance proceeds are fixed, the money may not fully cover the total funeral, cremation, burial, or obviously what the family needs, and then the family would have to pay the difference. So that's exactly what we were just talking about a little bit ago with all the conversation with cremation, etc. Now, can anybody, and again, there's no right or wrong answer to this, can anybody tell me what pre-needs is?
It's the exact same as what we sell, except the funeral home is the beneficiary and they take 100%, and you can only use it at that funeral home or within their network of funeral homes.
Couldn't have said it better myself, and that's basically what this says, right? So how do I purchase pre-need? I'll paraphrase. They go to a funeral home, right? All funeral homes are going to do pre-need. They pay a monthly fee for it. Typically, the fee is locked in, the price is guaranteed. But what happens if that person passes away before their funeral is paid up? They only get the portion of which they've paid for up to that point. That's what sucks about that. And most people that do pre-need, they're not in our line of business. They don't know that. They don't think about it. And I'm not saying that the places that are doing it aren't educating them. They probably are. But most people are like, oh, it'll be okay. I'll live. And then guess what happens? You got this $15,000 funeral. You've paid into it for 3 years. You've paid roughly $3,000 or $4,000 for it. And guess what happens? Now you pass away. You wanted a funeral. You've told your family you wanted a funeral. You got all this stuff set up. And now somebody's got to come up with 9-10 grand to bury you, which was the whole point of you putting that together to begin with. I don't knock pre-need. I don't at all. Some people love it, but some people don't fully have a full understanding of what it is. And I can't tell you the conversations that I've had with clients or potential clients, and pre-need comes up, and when I explain to them, you only have as much coverage as you have when you pass away, it opens their eyes. With us, whatever you qualify for, that's what you're going to have, i.e. them getting final expense. So let me read to you guys some of the advantages. Saves money by allowing you to plan a unique and memorable funeral service. Can't we do that with FCGS? For free, by the way. Pays in advance, guarantees service at today's prices. So it does lock them in at today's prices. But what if it's 10 years from now, as Benji was just talking about? You're locked in at today's prices. We all know with inflation and everything else, the prices are going to continue to go up. 3, option to pay pre-need plans in one lump sum or installments. Most people pick installments, which goes right back to what we were talking about. So disadvantages as we get ready to conclude. Plans may not be transferable. So let's say you have somebody that moves to Florida, or they're a snowbird or something like that, and they pass away. Now they got to get the body back. FCGS does what? Gets their body back as more as long as it's 200 miles away from home. Obviously, accident plan and all those kind of things. All right? Plans are not transferable, which could be a problem if the chosen funeral home charges ownership goes out of business, or if they move to a new location that's far away from the original location. Money set aside for pre-need contracts cannot be used for other investments that might offer higher returns. Okay? So that money, as Benji just mentioned, has to be used at that particular funeral home at that particular time. All right? So I just wanted to point out this particular resource to you all. Obviously, you can go out there, type in the zip code, those kind of things, pull up all the stuff about pre-need and final expense and all those other things that go along with that. So does anybody have any questions?
I do.
Fire away.
So for the pre-need plan, I interpreted part of that a little differently. What I interpreted it as was if a person goes and purchases like a $10,000 funeral, burial, everything like that, and then they pay it all off. What I thought that was saying is that they are guaranteed to have all the services that they scheduled, even as the price increases. So, like,
No,
is
it's
that
today's prices. So majority of those pre-need contracts, as I've used this to sell final expense policy, I tell them review your contract. Is there a
Inflation.
inflation rider on there? There's never an inflation rider.
Yeah.
okay? So it has to be an inflation rider in
And then the
order.
way the contract is set
Okay.
up, the funeral home doesn't have to guarantee that price. Now, personally, if I own a funeral home, I would guarantee that price regardless. But
Yeah, I think it depends on the funeral home.
yeah, most of them don't do that.
Okay. Thank you for
I'm
clarifying
glad
that.
you brought that up, Barb. Yeah. Yeah. So it depends on the contract, Benji. And I know you dig into this stuff, which I know you in our conversations. I love them because we dig into these things. But yeah, and that's where you start to educate the client, right? But just like the lady, I know Ben and Mary weren't able to get in contact, but Mary's first sale, we went out and helped this lady. She had no health conditions, none whatsoever, other than, she had an eating disorder, but that it didn't preclude her not getting coverage. She got standard final expense, but the coverage she had before, she went and grabbed her policy. I know I've told you guys this story before. Second page, graded benefits. She had no idea what that was. I'm like, and it showed a dollar amount she'd get for the next 3 years. It was nothing. We got her day one coverage. So it's educating the client to these things. And I think this is a great resource for us to have where you can put it right in front of people. And it's a third party resource. People trust third party resources. They just do for whatever reason. So great question, Barb. Anybody else?
Mary has a question.
Oh, Mary, your
Alright.
voice changed.
Tell me to remind her. She had one yesterday.
Fire away, Mary.
Okay. So I had this guy's house that I went to. He was talking about how, well, first off, he started by saying that's not my handwriting and I didn't fill that out. So, anyways, and then he tells me that he has insurance with the union already, that he like retired, and he was like, I already have something. And I'm like, I don't know what that looks like when it comes to unions. Like, is it just like a small amount that when you retire from a union they give you if you pass away only? Or is it like an insurance plan that they only had while they were working? Just like the details of that.
Sure. So a couple different things, and I know Barb's a union person, so she might be able to answer some of this better than I can. But let me tell you my experience with unions. Unions, teaching associations, anything like that, they kind of work the same. They have their own bylaws. They have things that are separate than if you worked at a regular rank and file employer. Okay? I'm gonna keep it short. A lot of the time when somebody retires, they have a quote unquote pension plan. And that pension plan will include certain things like dental, life insurance, maybe Medicaid or Medicare has to pay first, and then the union plan will pay second, those kind of things for some health insurance benefits. In most cases, if it is not an association plan, most unions do not offer anything like that moving forward. Most people that are a part of unions think, well, the union's got me covered. They don't ask it, they don't research it, they don't think, they just think the union's got me all covered, and they have no idea, A, what the plan is, or B, what they have. Now, case in point, I had a lady that I went and met with yesterday at 3 o'clock. She's retiring from being a teacher. She said, I've got life insurance, but what they're offering me is, I think she said it was $58 for, I can't remember how much cover. I think she said it was like $100,000. I said, ma'am, you're 63. Let me ask you a question. Does that make any sense at all? I said, you're an educator. Does that make any sense at all? She goes, never thought about that until you said it. That really doesn't. $100,000, I'm 63. And I was telling Ben, this lady, she was she's not going to fit in anybody's BMI. And I guarantee, I saw on her counter, I saw three, I didn't tell Ben this, but I saw 3 or 4 different medications that were on her counter. She's never going to qualify for anybody's life insurance, and especially 100 grand. So to that point, Marion, and I want Barb to kind of step in because I know she's shaking her head, so she's in agreement with me. Most of the time with life insurance, when people retire, it does not go with them. It just doesn't. And they believe it does, and it doesn't, and then they leave their family in a spot. My thing is what I told the lady, please research. I'm going to leave my card, which I don't typically do. I'm not leaving the rates for you, but I'm going to leave my card. Please, please, please research that. And I think what you're going to find out, because she told me, yeah, you're right, that doesn't make any sense. Research it, and at least you might be able to get up to at least 35,000 with us instead of leaving yourself in a spot. Okay, Barb, go ahead.
Yeah. So the way that most unions work is, I mean, even most people in unions don't have pensions anymore either, unless you specifically work for the organization itself. And then they typically do have pensions. But even with that, a lot of their health and welfare, like their life insurance, their health insurance is set up in they have a trust, right? And so it's not actually the union organization, but typically that includes like some health insurance, but not a lot, and pension, but it doesn't typically include life insurance, where the life insurance, if it covers people, and a lot of the people that are the age that we're talking to, they might have been grandfathered in to have, like, through their job, unions can negotiate that they get like a group life insurance policy that does extend past the time that they retire and covers them whole life, and they don't have to pay. Like, I've had some clients who have had those, and I know that my husband negotiates some into those really strong contracts, but those are only like
It's that much.
they're really established companies, and those people are grandfathered in, which means that most of their employees don't qualify that. It's only the people who have been working there for like 30
30
years.
years.
So it's really unusual for people to actually have a life insurance policy that extends beyond them working for the company, whether they're union or not. So that's always where, if you can build up enough rapport and get them to investigate and get back in touch with you, you can educate them more about it. But it's one of those things where until you see the paperwork itself, you can't know what the situation is. But yeah, unless they're like if they worked for like AT&T, or one of the like
Large corporation.
automotive companies, or something that was really well established and had like a really strong union presence, it's highly unlikely that their life insurance is extended beyond their retirement.
Yeah.
It just,
I'd say less than 5%.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's really minuscule. Those type of companies, they
How
do
would you
have it,
typically
but
like go about talking to them about it?
He could call his union rep. He could call the
Mhm.
company that he used to work for. I'm sure
It's,
they have an online presence and they can also get that information sent to. They have access, and
yeah.
the union has to provide it.
Normally, if they have like a pension, there's some type of like retiree like pension telephone number that they call for all of their benefit management. And if they call them and ask those questions, remember when I had that 4-hour visit? I think it was one of our first boot camps. That was the woman that I was there for 4 hours helping her. Like, it took her forever with my assistance to get through and get all of the answers for all of that. But yeah, there's typically some 800 number that manages their health insurance or their pension or all of that that they can contact, and they can find out that way. It wouldn't generally be directly to their like union rep, but it also might be HR through their work,
Right.
because they would have had to fund a lot of that.
And if
So
they're large enough, like you said, Barb, if they're large, there's always going to be an 800 number. There's always going to be a web access. They might even have an app, those kind of things, because they might be using a large company that works with unions to funnel all that stuff to answer their questions. But most people don't like dealing with it because you
It
got to
takes
pick
a
up the phone.
long
It
time.
takes
Like, they
forever.
gotta, yeah.
So
so what
Barb, do you know how much on average when they retire, what the life insurance amount is?
It really depends on the company, but like, for example, the woman that was referring to, she had a $25,000 life insurance policy that she never had to pay into, that was negotiated through the union. And, we were on the phone, we confirmed that it's still in place. She never has to make any premiums, and it's just there for her. And she was really good about record keeping and keeping all of her paperwork and everything. Um, Sometimes it's smaller, sometimes it's like 10,000. It just really depends on what they negotiated for that contract for that employer in that place. Because it's not like, even if the company is nationwide, the contracts are really specific to the site where that person worked. So it's hard to generalize. But yeah, I mean, if they were like working for some small company or something like that, and they're like, yeah, I still have my insurance, it doesn't pass the sniff test. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that company is not going to be able to fund life insurance for all of their retirees. They just don't have the capacity to
Capacity.
do
Well,
that.
because I know when like someone's working, it's usually like up to $50,000,
Yeah.
or it's 1.5 times their salary, or sometimes 2 times their salary,
Well, it
depending on.
just that, and that
Yeah,
differs too, because
correct.
it depends. Executives can have 5 times, and you have your middle level that has to be, and there's all kinds of rules that go into play where you have to treat the janitor like the CEO. There's all those rules that come into play. The point of this is, and this is all beautiful conversation. I hope you guys are picking this stuff up to be able to go back to your clients with. The point is the education of it, right? And Mary, you asked the question, Ben, I'm glad you brought it up. Making sure that that client understands what they have, because if they don't know what they have and they're just sweeping it under the rug because they're like, the union's got me, and then you pass away, guess what? Does your beneficiary know what you have? And if not, you're leaving them in a spot, which is probably the reason why you filled out this lead to send it in. Because something you read triggered you to fill this out and send it back in, whether it was online or on paper. So,
Like, for
Um,
example, oh, sorry.
no, you're good. You can
I
go.
was just gonna say, like, I don't, Mary, because you had said like I don't know if your client worked for the union or he just had a union at his work, but like my husband, he works for like the largest private sector union in the country for a local, but that local has 50,000 members. Like it's a huge union, right? He's been with them, like he's been in the labor movement for 30 years, but we still have to get our life insurance separate from them. Like he has a pension, like an amazing one. We have amazing health insurance, but life insurance is not typically something that is covered by the union itself. It's either through the trust fund that negotiates for all of their members, then but each one is different because the employer has to fund it, or but it but even with the largest union in the country and him being there for almost 30 years, there's still no guaranteed life insurance through them. It's extraordinarily rare.
yeah.
So what's a good way for Mary or any of us to get to that point where we can have this conversation with them? Because I think being at the door is, you don't really get, it's hard to, you don't normally get to talk about all this stuff that we're talking about. So when someone brings up that they have a union plan at the door, how should we go about trying to get to a point where we can explain all of this stuff to them?
That's
Is there
a good
something?
question. Like I said, like it's definitely not a conversation that you just dive into in the beginning, right? It comes out through asking, obviously, like the questions. If they say, oh, I'm covered through my union, then depending on where you are in the conversation, if you've built up enough rapport, and like this one woman that I helped, thank God she was really organized with all her paperwork and she had it all right there. Most people don't, though. And like Corey said, they're just making these assumptions. Um, and so that's where, like, the few people that I've talked to who have this situation, it's still a roadblock because you still have to follow up with them, right? Like,
So is this one of those things where
yeah.
we try and tell them to check and then circle back to them to see if they did check?
So unfortunately, it's either that because they're never going to know and they're never going to believe you until they check, right? Because they've had this assumption the whole time. So no matter how knowledgeable you come across, they're still kind of clinging to that old belief that that their union has them covered. So they either need to check independently and then you follow up with them, or in that situation with the client that I helped, fortunately, like I think that was the third time that I'd gone back to her where, I told her, I was like, I'm not going to help you replace or cancel any policies, but you don't have all of the answers, and I know that you've been frustrated trying to get in touch with them. And so I offered to sit with her and help her call just so she knew which questions to ask. But that's why it took me 4 hours to get through that too, because we had to go through everything. So, I mean, unfortunately, those are your two options. Either they have the paperwork and you can look through it and kind of investigate and point out, but most of them don't. So then they have to go do the investigation on their own and find out that information, or they're willing to sit with you and make the call and go through the questions to find out if this really is what they think it is, which generally it isn't.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe you talk to somebody who's like, oh yeah, I just know and believe you. But most people, they're not, until like they've gotten the answers themselves, they're not going to believe that the union doesn't really have that policy there for them that way.
Yeah.
Mm.
My short answer to that would be everything that Barb said, but to get them to at least reach out to the
Yeah.
union, however they reach out to them, because I'm sure from time to time throughout the year they're like, how does this work, or something didn't work right with their health care or their medications, or it's open enrollment, do I move to Medicare, or what do I, those kind of things, especially if they retire early before age 65. But I would say, sir, ma'am, or sir, John, here's what I find in most cases with this, because of how unions are set up. How long were you at AT&T? 30 some years. Well, it's a good chance that you might, based on the union, how strong those contracts were. As you know, things aren't what they used to be. Would you agree with that? And he's going to say yes, because they're not. I would make sure that what you believe you have in place is in place. What you don't want to do is sweep this under the rug and think it's in place and it's not, and then something happens to you. So can I reconvene back with you in a couple of days and either sit down with you together, or you call and find out what you have, so at least we can sit down and get you insured, or make sure what you think you have, you have. That's how I would handle that.
Which sucks because sometimes people like have too big of an ego and they don't want to be wrong. And
Correct.
they'd rather be ignorant and put their family in a spot than be wrong.
Yep. And sometimes I'm just going to be honest, sometimes I'll swing the bat. And when I mean that, I mean one of those little plastic bats. I'm not going to hit anybody with a bat. And I mean that proverbially as well. Benji, I knew you'd laugh at that. Here's what I mean by that. Sir, John, or Ben, let's pretend you're that crotchety old guy, right? Ben, look, really quick. I know you worked your tail off with the union, and obviously to make sure that you've gotten yourself to this point, you're enjoying your retirement. But you filled this out and sent this in, which gives me pause that you're probably wondering if there's something else out there, or maybe you need more. I'm concerned that since you retired a few years ago and you were with AT&T, that you might not have what you think you have. Now, I'm going to fall on the sword for you and your family. Wouldn't it make sense? I'm willing to help you do the research with this to make sure if you're protected, I'll fist bump you and I'll move on, and you'll make sure that whoever's supposed to pick up the pieces is in good shape. Does that make sense? I'm going to fall on the sword and offer to help. If they tell me to buzz off, then that's on them. That's how I would handle that.
And the other part of that is that a lot of those policies and a lot of that protection, it's all market based, right? So like when I was a teacher in California, retirees got health insurance until the market tanks, and then they don't have the funding to pay for the retirees because they've got to pay for their current workers. And so even though they understand what their benefits are, if the funding isn't there in the trust fund, then they have to decide where they're going to cut back. And it's always the retirees' benefits that they cut first.
100%.
So, even if that was what they had when they retired, it is always smart to look in. But that's when you're like down in the depths of the conversation, right? I mean, this obviously isn't something that you can dive into as deeply when you're just starting the conversation. But that is a reality. And most union members are aware of it because the trust funds do notify them, but the retirees aren't necessarily kept up to date as much, and they don't have voting rights to it either. So
They're not active. Here's the crazy part about that too, because I used to sell large healthcare. When the union members are notified, it's in their written agreements and their documents, their agreements that they have to be notified. Well, what does that look like? So it's typically a letter that's sent out that says, based on the new union rules and all these things and all this stuff, blah, 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 we're going from such and such life insurance to this, and this is affecting your pension this way, and this is now what you have. When you signed on and you were paying your union dues and now you retire, you're still a part of this, but you're a part of it as it's moving forward.
Yep.
So you might not have what you think you have, unless Barb mentioned about 10 minutes ago, unless you're grandfathered in, right? And if you're not, then guess what? You get what's coming. So your 25,000, if it wasn't grandfathered, might be 10. And you want to be a regular funeral, and now it's 10 years from now, and that funeral is now 17 grand. You've got 10,000, and I guarantee you, these people have not talked to their kids that I have a life insurance program through the union. I guarantee they don't think like that.
yep.
That's why life insurance is so cheap to work, because it never gets used. So hopefully that helps, Mary.
And I'm sorry I didn't give you like a straightforward
No, I
answer,
think that's the best
but
answer you could give, because that's what it is. That's how it works.
yeah.
Yeah. Anything else? Great question, Mary. I mean, Ben or Mary. Mary sounded like Ben this morning. All right. Goals for today. We're going to go Barb, Ben, Mary, Benji. So Barb, what are you shooting for today?
1 for 1.
Got it. Ben,
You're muted.
he knows. That's why.
2 for 2.
All right.
It actually
Mary?
told me I'm muted. I've never seen that.
Oh, when you start talking, yeah. Mary,
2 for 2.
look at you going 2 for 2. That's the first time you've done that. And then Benji,
I'll do 1 for 1.
awesome. Thank you guys for being on. I appreciate you all. It's great to see your bright faces this morning. If you guys need anything from me, let me know. I'm supposed to be out with Adam today, so we'll see what we can't make happen. But appreciate you all. Bye for now.
Like, Betty.
Bye.